Over the past few months, I've been critically analyzing the entirety of the New Super Mario Bros. Series. So far, I've come to a pretty solid, awesome conclusion that both of these games have been absolutely outstanding. They do have their issues, but that doesn't stop them from being both amazing games in their own respective categories. So as we continue our journey through the rest of the series, I hope I can come to that same conclusion for our next 3 games. Anyone remember the Wii U console reveal? How long ago was it? It's only roughly 13 years ago. Time's not moving forward, I swear. All of these amazing launch titles for the system like Nintendo Land, Zombie U, and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 of all games. If Call of Duty can be a whole-ass launch title for this console, it must be something worth checking out. Please don't look at my console sales. Yeah, the Wii U reveal was really weird. There were a few more interesting games to note during the reveal, these being New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Mario Bros. 2.
It's clearly different from the new Wii U Mario game that Reggie talked about earlier.
Weird how we're just now getting the sequel to the original DS game. Way to go, Nintendo. How do you announce you're running out of ideas for Mario games? Well, you released 2 of the same games in the same year, months apart from each other. Awesome. Let's throw this game away for now. We aren't talking about that today. Let's pretend I don't know anything about that game. New Super Mario Bros. U looked like a pretty fine game from the reveal. Nintendo made a pretty bold decision to actually name it New Super Mario Bros. Me. Yep, Mario was no longer in the picture. Straight in the trash. This little tech demo was actually what turned into New Super Mario Bros. U. Pretty interesting. I sure hope it's interesting at the very least. I didn't even know what became of that tech demo till writing this damn thing. Anyways, New Super Mario Bros. U looked very similar to its 3DS counterpart, which also looked very similar to its Wii counterpart, which looked similar, albeit a bit more different, to the DS game. There's way too much compression in this 1080p video to really distinguish all too much. The only thing I can do is look at everything myself through my very own 2 eyeballs as a video game reviewer usually would. I am the first and probably the last guy in the world that got the Wii U bundle that came with this game. Look, we get 2 in 1! Awesome! Imagine this little guy isn't here right now and taking up the box art, and look, we only have 1 game now. The year of the Luigi comes later. It's not time for the talk yet. Even though I said that, there's still 2 of them. Of course this has a Switch port. Talk about lazy, they still kept the fucking U in the name. 2 separate entities for now, but they will both be talked about, I promise you. I won't leave this guy in the corner for too long. The title screen looks quite similar to that of the Wii game. You know the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So having this be the title screen isn't the worst thing in the world. It just kinda loses some charm and originality. Remember, this is Wii U era Mario we're talking about. Gotta be the most recognizable thing on the planet. You see this guy in your courtroom and immediately recognize him. Since every other game has had mini-games you can play outside the main game, what does this game in particular offer us, you may be asking? Unlike Wii, we have more stuff to do here. Challenges is a game mode where you complete challenges. You have stuff like time trials, obtain 1-ups, or I guess jumping over fireballs for as long as you can. I mean, hey, these are actually loner friendly, so if you don't have friends to experience these modes with, you can easily just use the Wii U gamepad and all your troubles will go away. They also have specific Wii U gamepad challenges that basically just amount to you spawning blocks with the touchscreen. Fun. Boost Rush is a pretty interesting mode. I kinda wish it had levels created specifically for it, but I'll take what I can get. So Boost Rush has you playing on specific levels that you would have played through before in the regular game, except they are now all auto-scrollers. The gimmick here is that you're trying to go for a record time, so you better collect more coins to make the screen scroll faster. Next is Coin Battle. Yeah, it's Coin Battle. Nothing really to say here. Anything I said about the Wii mode can be quoted here exactly. You just duke it out with a friend to collect as many coins as possible within the time limit. What I can say here, which I didn't mention in the original game, is that it has specific levels made for it, which is really cool actually. They do allow you to play on standard stages, but the fact they made original ones makes this one of the better modes in the game. Yeah, there's not many minigames or modes, but I think it's definitely a step up from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Lots of more content to play around with. Even the challenges can take you hours to complete. I'm really glad to have these. Whoa, is that the bonus videos section? Ah, cool. I can have the game show me literally everything so I don't even need to bother playing it. Because the Switch and Wii U based story modes are practically the exact same with minor differences, I'll be switching over no pun intended, to play the Switch version as it's way easier for me. I can hold a good controller and not whatever the hell these things are. I'm joking, I actually like the Wii U gamepad. You know how at the end of Wii, Bowser just falls into the lava and we save the day? Well, you're never gonna believe this, but he's actually back in this game. And instead of kidnapping Peach like usual, he picks us up with his big fucking mechanical arm thing he just so happens to have and throws us across the world, taking over the castle himself. Well, at least he's trying something different. He can't win them all, so he'll just take over another castle. I actually really like this game structure more, as it kinda makes me feel like I'm working towards something other than saving Peach. I have to travel across this massive world to make it back to Peach's castle and restore it to his former glory. I am also killing Bowser in the process, so it's a win-win for everyone. Like usual, we have our world map. I like the way this is set up a lot more than Wii and DS. The entire world is interconnected like in Super Mario World, by these little seams that change the music, terrain, and the environment most importantly. My only issue here is that you can't just warp to each world fast like in the other games. You have to walk all the way down to the beginning and take this pipe to the one you want. Kinda tedious. Remember though, pipe travel is efficient. I really like how big the world feels though. I'm not just walking into the distance and ending up in the clouds. I'm physically climbing a vine to travel there. Just like in Wii, each world has map-specific enemies to make sure you're taking as much time as humanly possible. Something newly added, or I guess returns in this game, are the baby Yoshis from Super Mario World, once again. They act quite a bit differently than they did in that game. Instead of eating enemies to grow, they all have specific abilities to help you out in certain situations. We've got Balloon Yoshi, Bubble Yoshi, and the Light Bulb Yoshi. Are they useful? I'd say pretty much just the balloon one, as having more chances to get higher in the air is probably more useful than turning enemies into bubbles or glowing in the dark. Nabbit is another new addition here. Instead of just casually saving Toads anymore, we have to catch this rabbit type thing guy in a bunch of different stages. It's pretty much just to get a bunch of power-ups if you really want them. Speaking of obtaining power-ups, the menu where you can hold them has been ridiculously nerfed in this game. It is now resembling that of Super Mario Bros. 3. The only good thing I can say about this change is that at least they give you enough slots to hold every power-up in the game. It makes it easier to, show off this stuff. The Toad houses are also a massive downgrade. The minigames just aren't very good. Using my eyes isn't as good as power-up panels. I don't know how they did it, but star coins are somehow even more useless in this game. They are strictly used for unlocking Superstar Road. You can't buy tips and tricks with them. They give you all that for free, via the slowest fucking way possible. Man, I love accessing my tips within an artificial web browser instead of using the actual game. Pretty sure on the Wii U they were all just, there. Great job, Nintendo. It does make me really happy though that after these games we moved further away from making the collectibles useless. We are currently getting to a point where Nintendo keeps reusing the exact same themes for their Mario games. You have your grasslands, your desert lands, your jungles, snows, mountains. It's the same thing as the last game. I wish they'd come up with some new world map ideas. All of the world map designs in this game felt incredibly generic and had a huge, samey vibe to them. Except for Superstar Road and the latter half of Soda Jungle. Superstar Road is a really cool area themed in space and serves as the special world for this game. I actually did 100% the game this time, so I do have the ability to talk about all forms of content the game has to offer. Soda Jungle is my favorite world in the entire game. The levels are okay, but I'm mainly talking about the specific ghost house level, which is very reminiscent of the Starry Night painting. This is one of the greatest levels ever made in these games. I really wish I could say the same about the rest of them. Did anyone else think that was a perfect segue into talking about the levels in this game? I mean, I sure do. Jumping into our first level and, yep, it's New Super Mario Bros. If you thought New Super Mario Bros. Wii looked similar to the DS game, well, what about comparing Wii to Wii U? This is literally identical. The game looks incredibly similar to the rest, with no real identity to call its own. Besides the story structure being slightly different, this entire game just reuses and doesn't really build upon what Wii did all that much. It pretty much just does the exact same thing. The levels in this game are really long for some reason and have a lot of the same issues as before. They are incredibly open because it's meant for 4 players. But I'm glad I can actually say this. The levels aren't bad despite this. I can't think of a single level in this game that I actually hate. I can think of a few that I really love. Obviously, we have the painted swampland, but we also have the castle with the snake blocks and Firefall Cliffs. It's an auto-scroller, but it's an auto-scroller I fuck with. I love all the fireballs coming down at you constantly, and you have to hide in the little crevices they give you. It's really cool. Since we have officially entered the modern age, yep, that's right, we get to use the HDMI now. We get to have even more control schemes to play this game with. Wii remotes, Wii U Pro controllers, Wii U gamepad, Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, Pro controller, N64 controller, and maybe my PS5 controller, but who knows. Since they had all of these options, they needed to make the movement accessible to all of these form factors. There are no new movement options. It's all the exact same as it was before, except it feels even better to pull off some of these moves now. I think New Super Mario Bros. U has the best movement out of any 2D Mario game. It's so satisfying. Everything just responds so well, and I can't say I've had any issues with it. Except that's a lie. Specifically in the Switch version, you can now use the B button to twirl while also having motion as an option. Yeah, you can't disable it easily if you don't like it. You gotta put in a little cheat code. Awesome. Originally, this game only had one new power-up. Technically, only one new power-up. And that one was the Acorn suit. Imagine the raccoon suit, except you can only glide and cling to walls. That's it. The other power-up is the P-Acorn, reminiscent of the P-Wing from Super Mario Bros. 3. Yeah, it's not very useful. I'm not sure anyone would use this. It's so rare, I'd say to myself, I'm gonna save it for when I really need it, and it just never gets used. After you're beating the level with it, it goes back to a regular Acorn suit. So there's literally no reason for this power-up's existence. Remember how I said like 30 seconds ago that originally this game was released with one new power-up? Well, in the Switch version, not only did Blue Toad basically get snapped in favor of Toadette, but she also got a power-up that's exclusive to just her. The Super Crown turns her into Peachette. I'm getting flashbacks of the internet during 2018. I don't want to think about Bowser wearing this power-up. So yeah, all this crown does is give Toadette a float and a safety net in case you jump into a pit. Really missed opportunity to give this power-up to everyone. I promise you it was a missed opportunity. All of the power-ups from Wii return here. The mini mushroom got an upgrade for some reason. You can now run on walls. Really cool how one of the final games in the series basically introduces nothing new. I'm so glad power-ups like the drill mushroom and the bubble flower got saved for Super Mario Wonder. They wouldn't have made as big of an impact if they were just taken from the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Let's talk about this game's soundtrack, because it's basically non-existent. Most of the tracks in this game are either remixes or reused from Wii. Was it that hard to make a new castle theme? Apparently so. The world map theme is kinda disappointing. Instead of each world getting its own unique music, they're all just a remix of the World 1 theme. I understand why though. It's because of the interconnected world, but I kinda wish they put more effort into the music for this game, because it could have been just as good as past Mario games. The special world has some really cool levels. We all hate the spine coaster, but it's used in such a good way here. It's actually somewhat fast, so the level doesn't last an eternity. I love some of the other levels like Run For It and Follow That Shell. Honestly, an amazing world to obtain after beating the game. Definitely my favorite special world so far. There isn't really much to talk about when it comes to the world bosses. If you've played New Super Mario Bros. Wii, then you fought the world bosses in New Super Mario Bros. U. Yeah, the Koopalings return. I'm not surprised. Boom Boom actually gets reintroduced in this game. Whenever you don't have any ideas, just slap him in here and he'll serve as the mini-boss that should have been someone else. Speaking of someone else, we get two different mid-castle bosses. They only appear in one level each, so if you want variety, you'll have to wait till pretty much the end. The Sumo Bro can only be attacked from the bottom, so you need to use these strangely familiar platforms to knock him over, and jump on him to even make a damn dent in his Rule of Thirds health bar. Magikoopa being a boss is really cool actually. Basically just gotta keep running around and dodging his attacks until he leaves himself open to being jumped on. Pretty simple, but really cool fight. The Bowser Jr. fights are again some of the greatest fights in this entire game. The first one is about redirecting Torpedo Ted into him while underwater, and the next one just involves you dodging his arms and bombs he throws out while destroying the floor beneath you. Really cool fight. I totally didn't die a million fucking times trying to beat this. He does appear in the final level in the game, but doesn't really do much. He just kinda does what he does best and is a nuisance to the player. Why can't they make more fights in this game like the Bowser Jr. ones? Alright, final castle time. So what did I say about the one in New Super Mario Bros. Wii? That it was a straight line? Well, it's the same fucking thing here. It is once again a straight line, except we get the brat messing around. Oh goody, third time's the charm, am I right? I can't believe we just keep doing the same fucking Bowser fight over and over again. We all know how it goes by this point. Kill him, and ooh, Magic Koopa spreads some magic and brings him back, except he's big now. The second phase isn't very hard, but hey, at least Bowser Jr. is trying his best. Literally, we have to wait for Bowser Jr. to attack so we can knock him out of his shitty clown car. Just do that 3 times and hit Bowser on the head as well, and we win. Awesome fight. The game totally didn't just shit itself at the very end. The day is once again saved. See you next week, Bowser. As one of the 2 Mario games to come out after Wii, I am super conflicted with this game. On one hand, it barely has its own identity. Most of the stuff in this game is taken straight from its predecessor with a little bit of new stuff sprinkled in. And on another hand, this game is really good. And the fact the Super Crown created the whole internet fad when it came out has to give it some merit somewhere. It's a pretty hard decision for me to make here, but I really do think I like this game. Music-wise is a hard pass, but everything is so much better here than New Super Mario Bros. Wii, in my opinion anyway. Do I think this holds up to the standards the first 2 games set? Not really, but it definitely can stand up as an okay Mario game that you can have fun with. Just don't tell me this Bowser fight was your favorite. There is literally no way. I'd like to thank you for watching. I apologize for not continuing the series sooner. As you can see, I've been doing other games. The new Super Mario Bros. 2 video will hopefully be sooner rather than later, but I make no promises other than the fact it will come out. If you liked the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe as it helps me an absolute ton. If you want, you can turn on post notifications to stay up to date with the new videos I post on my channel. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.